There's a new study that finds roughly 1 in 3 workers say the return to office shift has negatively impacted their mental health. That's according to a June McKinsey survey of more than 1,600 people. It also found that those workers who experienced declines in their mental health were 5 times more likely to report taking on reduced responsibility at work. So joining us to discuss is Jairus Stulen. She is with the June McKinsey survey. Thanks so much for joining me, Jairus. Good to have you here. Let's just start from the beginning. What is stressing people out about going back to the office?
Sure. Well, what we saw in our report was that there are a few things that are stressing employees out. So one is just the sort of physical reality of coming back into the workplace, being afraid of contracting COVID or getting COVID and potentially exposing family members at home. And then the second is really the sort of psychological or social stress of going back into the workplace, so needing to readjust to the flexibility that you may have gotten from working from home, and needing to get back into a more routine schedule, feeling like you're going to have less freedom in your work or less ability to take care of all of the other things you need to take care of at home.
So in your survey, you asked people what could help or reduce their stress when it comes to going back to work, and what did you learn from that?
Yep, and again, there were a few types of things we saw. So one, employers really need to keep in mind the physical safety of the workplace. They need to put in place air filtration or testing of employees to help reassure employees that this is a safe workplace. This is not somewhere where you're going to be unnecessarily exposed to COVID. And then employers also need to keep in mind that kind of psychological safety they need to put in place for employees. So they need to, figure out how they're still going to allow some flexibility, allow some control for employees over the hours they work or the place from which they work. Assure them that coming back into the office isn't going to mean that they're going to have to, all of a sudden figure out childcare for children who may still be at home, and assure employees that they'll still have autonomy and role definition in their work that they may have developed during the work from home period.
So instead of mandating a blanket return, your research has a suggestion for employers, and what is that?
Yep, and that's really that employers need to understand where their employees are. So as you mentioned earlier, in our research, we saw there are some employees who are really excited about returning to the workplace. They feel like that's going to make them more productive, help advance their careers. And then there are a number of employees who are concerned about returning to the workplace, who are worried about that lack of flexibility, may take on less responsibility if forced to return to the workplace. Mm-hmm. So employers need to understand what parts of their workplace are in different places, need to prepare the safety and the psychological safety needed for those employees who are hesitant to return to the workplace, and then also need to ensure that whatever sort of hybrid or return to work model they develop, that they're monitoring sort of the diversity and inclusion impact of the return to work, so that they're not seeing something like, we have a whole bunch of one gender or one type of employees that have jumped back into the workplace and are now really forgetting those employees that are still working from home and, not including them in meetings or things like that.
Yeah, that's a tough balance too, isn't it? Because, the employees want to get back to the office, but at the same time, they have to be listening and willing to listen to what's going on with the individuals. And if they don't, you say they could pay the price. You also saw that. Explain that.
That's right. We saw that employees who believe going back to the workplace is going to be psychologically detrimental to them, they're much more likely to say that they're going to ask for reduced responsibility at work, or that they're going to, even look for another job. And I think especially given the labor market that we're all familiar with, there really are opportunities for people to look for new places of work if they are so inclined. And so employers really need to keep that in mind, and give employees the support they need and the transition planning they need, so that they don't lose that productivity or lose workers altogether.
Absolutely. Jairus Stulen with the June McKinsey survey. Thanks so much for joining me. Interesting study. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.